But man, for when you're watching this video, you're going to want to skip ahead a bit. I'm doing a book review. And then for Jiver, I forget the fake name I made up for you. Uh, you're also going to want to skip ahead like maybe 5 minutes into the video. It'll be towards the end of the video that I do then and watch review. Anyway, I read Atlantis Attacks. Wasn't a fan of it. Like, at least with the Evolutionary War, it was quite entertaining because it's shown his origins and there was a bit of a loop to it because the High Evolutionary created the High Evolutionary. It's kind of like Iron Man by Black Sabbath, and it was quite nice. But with this, it was just fucking nothing. No clue whatsoever as to what's going on. What is the correlation between Atlantis Attacks and the Saga of the Serpent Crown? Because they go parallel. They're all the same issues. Atlantis Attacks, 14 parts, and it's, say X-Men Annual 4, Spider-Man Annual 5, so on. Saga Serpent Crown, 14 parts, X-Men Annual 4, Spider-Man Annual 5, so on. I do not understand. And it's just... I just really don't like annuals. Luckily, I think, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that might be the last of them. I mean, there'll still be annuals and shit and crossovers, but it's not like they're going to be exclusively in annuals because Inferno is next. I know Inferno started before Atlantis Attacks, but I used this guide that a guy created on YouTube, and the way he structured it was Atlantis Attacks, then Inferno. And then after Inferno, you have the Infinity... I don't know what they call it in the comics. It's not Infinity War, but we'll just call it that, the Infinity War trilogy. Anyway, scary movie. Universally negative ratings, for some reason. Written by the Wayans brothers, starring... Sorry about that. Starring the Wayans brothers, Shanna Faris. Bunch of people, Carmen Electric, a bunch of people here seem familiar, but they're just not these people. I guess you could say there's a curse with this film, where the actors just don't have careers, or some of them even give up after this. Like, the girl plays Heller. Like, this is her last film. Anyway. David Cross is not in this, I don't think. Niggler is Natasha Lyonne. Or Charlie Sheen. I know Charlie Sheen is in Scary Movie 3. So... I don't even know where to start with this. This is a fucking... I can't even think of a word, but it's a lot to take in. I guess we'll start off with the start. You have Carmen Electra as the parody version of Drew Barrymore's character. But, I get, the whole point of Drew Barrymore being in Stardust Scream was as a sort of surprise. You see her and you think, oh, she's the main character, but then, oh, she dies within 5 minutes, and the same with Carmen Electra. But the difference is that Drew Barrymore was 24, so she can play a teenager. But Carmen Electra was in her 30s. I get, it's beautiful celebrity, but you could have got someone that could actually, convincingly play a teenager. Anyway, I think at times it does go a bit too far, but it's also fucking hilarious when it goes too far. I was laughing at things I didn't think I'd be laughing at, like fucking fart jokes. Um, gonna be honest, the during the WhatsApp scene, and I'm just gonna call him Ghostface. He like his mask changes, and one of them has him sticking his tongue out. That like genuinely, that's scary. I don't find Ghostface scary, but that mask in particular, like what the fuck? I think it's the eyes. Um, this was traumatizing, but it's also kind of based traumatizing because this film came out in 2000, back when we were allowed to look about the transgenders and their PE teacher, I think it is. He kind of reminds me of Eddie Izzard. Um, and I'm not just saying that because Eddie Izzard is trans. I'm saying that because whoever this actor is looks like Eddie Izzard. Um, and it's just his balls drop, and it's like, right. I'm gonna seem like a total paranoid conspiracy theorist, but I mean, you are watching Alan Shore. This is a conservative YouTube channel, so let's do this. As soon as I saw that the PE teacher, or whoever it is trans, I was like, yep, he's gonna start grooming the kids. And considering he did flash a fucking child, he did end up grooming kids. So this film is based by being accidentally transphobic. Well, not necessarily accidentally. It's not like, it's more like they just didn't care because it wasn't really a big thing back then, and people were allowed to make jokes. I didn't think this would follow the story of Scream like quite closely. I knew it was a parody film, but for some reason I just didn't consider that, even though I know that like Airplane is basically just that film Zero Hour from the 50s, but they had a comedy to it, and this is the same. Speaking of, my dad had seen Scary Movie, but had never seen Scream. And when I seen Scream, he spoiled Scary Movie for me because he was like, oh, like the scene where Dewey, not Doofy, like we're talking Scream here, Dewey came on for the first time. My dad said, oh, you know he's the killer, right? And then, you know, obviously ended up that he wasn't, but in this, Doofy is. So I did kind of know from that. But I didn't expect it to be like a fucking usual suspects kind of thing, where it's like, he's not retarded. Um, Also, you can't take me down for that because, like, I'm using that term correctly. Like, it wasn't an insult. Like, he genuinely does pretend to be a retard. Anyway. I'm gonna have to pause the video. I don't know what else. They're fucking. I didn't, right. I didn't expect it to be like Scream plus I Know You Did Last Summer. I thought it was just Scream, and then they added a bit of Scream 2. And speaking of the Scream sequels, there was a post-credit scene where I forget which ones it is. Sean, I think. He makes a videotape where it's like, oh, if you're watching this, I'm dead. I didn't make it. So you're gonna need to know some of the rules for horror films. And there was a scene in Scream 3 that's pretty similar because fucking I forget his name. Died in Scream 2. But the thing is that Scream 3 came out after Scary Movie. So, did the writers of Scream 3 watch Scary Movie and use that as an influence? Or is it just a coincidence? Like, that's what I want to know. Yeah, I think that's everything that there is for me to say. And I've watched Mixed Ratings, directed by David Ayer. I watched it on YouTube. I'd actually rent this. It's a good thing I got paid yesterday. It's not from Tesco. Tesco still fucking owe me money. But I've been on Universal Credit and I got paid yesterday. So, anyway, Jake Gyllenhaal, Michael Pena, Anna Kendrick, America Ferrera, Frank Grillo, Natalie Martinez, David Harbour. Cate Blanchett does not appear in this. I'd never heard of this until Thursday. I'm recording this on Saturday. We've seen it on Friday. And this driver was saying, you should watch it. We were talking about like something to do with sex or something. Oh no, he was playing AC2, and we got to the sex scene, if you can call it that, at the start of AC2. And it was like, oh, there's no sex in it, but you should watch End of Days Dawn. It's like, well, that's great then. And I looked it up and I was like, oh, documentary style, fucking great. And I was like, oh, this is going to be The Rookie, basically, but instead of being... The Rookie uses American continuity style of filming, of cinematography, whereas this, because it's documentary style, would be more French New Wave. But it's a little too French at the start. I get that it's because the whole thing is that Jake Gyllenhaal's character is an amateur cinematographer, but I think it goes a little too far. They should have reeled it back a bit. I also don't think they should have written in a reason for it to be documentary style. Like, The Rookie doesn't have a reason to show body cam footage and like the dash cam footage in the cars, but they do it. They could have just have it so that they show body cam footage and dash cam footage. Right. I was gone for a while because I had to go. I was with my mum. That's driving a new car. So I forget the last thing I said. I know that I said how, basically it was a little too French, but that's all I remember saying, so I'm just going to assume that's all I've said. So if I've repeated myself, that's why. I'm sorry. It was rare seeing Jake Gyllenhaal in this one because he's bald. I know that he was bald in Jarhead, but I haven't seen Jarhead. Until he smiles a bit, and just coming from Roadhouse, I can't help but laugh. Speaking of laughing, the dialogue between Taylor and Savala is great. That's sort of like the focus of this, between the two partners, which is quite good. There were a couple things that seemed like they were taken from 19.2, which is weird because this was only like a year after 19.2 aired. In fact, this was filmed it was filmed in August 2011 and 19.2 aired in... it aired in 2011. I think it was probably January, so at most like 7-8 months. I'm not saying it was inspired by 19.2, but it's just the coincidences are a bit weird. I forget what the first one is, but the second one, what I thought was going to happen was that Anna Kendrick's character, like, she slept with Jake Gyllenhaal, and she woke up before him the next morning and recorded herself, like, playing with his gun, and it reminded me of, I forget the name of the characters in 19.2, but the lesbian character Like, her girlfriend was, like, really... She was fucked up. Like, wanted to play with her gun. And it seemed like that was the reason why she was dating a cop. Just to play with her gun. But that's not what happened. It was just one scene. I forget what the first bit is that reminded me of 19 too, but... Um, I don't like the fact that, like, Jake Gyllenhaal's character gets shot to pieces, but somehow lives, and like the final scene, just it was great. It was well done, but it's just it it shouldn't have existed because the writing of it, like the concept, wasn't good because it was like they they stumble upon like a human trafficking operation, and when the head of that like cartel finds out about it, he's like, right, I want you to kill these two cops. But it's like they're two random cops. Like, I don't think criminals really give a shit about them. It'd be more like the detectives and all. um and then they basically just lead Taylor and Zavala into a trap where they get lit the fuck up by four people with AKs. But like four people with AKs, pretty close range. One shot hit. And it was in the fucking hand that Jake Gyllenhaal was hit. And then later on, they get out of the place that they're at, but Zavala, or not Zavala, Taylor is lying on the floor saying, oh, I don't want to die, and Zavala's saying, no, you're not going to die, and then it seems like Taylor died, but really he didn't, and the gangs are behind Zavala, and he's like, and they let him the fuck up, and it is close range at that point, four people with AKs, but the level of violence is just unrealistic. There's barely anything, which is weird because it's a fucking... I would get it if the film was a 12, but it's not a 12, it's a 15 or an 18. Like, this film, in America, if your film was rated PG-13, you can swear once, and then if you swear twice, it's just an automatic 15. This film has like 200 and something fucks in it. Like, there's actually a list of films with the most amount of swear words in it, and this film is number 10. Which it doesn't seem like it because there's just one scene where like this one guy says fuck twice in every sentence. And yeah, it is excessive, but it doesn't seem like it would make it go on the list, but apparently so. Despite all that, it is like a really well done film. It's they strive for realism and they, for the most part, achieved it.